Hi, so we're back, and I really enjoy this concept that I'm going to be talking to you guys. And I have a question for you. Would you rather a kind lie or an uncomfortable truth? Mean truth, an unkind truth? Or would you rather have the kind lie? Here's a newsflash. I'm going to give you guys all the mean truths and the uncomfortable truths. Now, I'm not going to do it in a mean way to call you out per se, but I'm going to use this obviously through the lens of a trainer. And it's so common that us as a society, us as people, we want real progress. However, we tend to settle for comfort, even if it's a lie. And you can think of The Matrix here for an example. If you haven't seen The Matrix, you should. But there's a scene where I forget his name, but he's basically betraying Neo, and he's at dinner with the Agent Smith, and he's like, even though I know that this steak is fake, it tastes delicious, because he's willing to put up with the fact that it's fake because it's comfortable, and he wants to get put back into the Matrix. He didn't want to be left, versus the fight against the Matrix is, it's tough, it's gritty, there's nothing glamorous about it, but it's real. And you can think about that in a relationship. Would you rather your partner just constantly give you kind lies, or just, give you the honest, cold-hearted truth at times? And that's the difficult conversations. And obviously it's hard to have that conversation just with myself per se, but we do live in a fitness world, fitness culture, at least I do, obsessed with making excuses that sound acceptable. By telling you what you want to hear, it doesn't necessarily reach your goal. For example, I had somebody reach out to me not too long ago saying, hey, I think I need support. I think I need help. Cool, awesome. During our consultation, I'm like, the way you're working out is not the way I would work out. And they took offense to that. I'm giving them the cold hard truth. Now, I didn't say it in that way, but I'm gathering information. Okay, you're doing constant HIIT workouts, but you want to lose weight. But you've plateaued. Because again, I've talked about this on many podcasts, but that's just not the most sustainable right way to lose weight. It's a different way of training. It's not what I would recommend. And it's like, well, I want to do that though. And they weren't ready for the truth. And that's completely fine. So they're not ready to change. The truth shall set you free. The truth will get you to where you want to go, even if it takes you just a little bit of an uncomfortable conversation. And the world is packed with soft distortions and endless justifications of, you can think of your own, but we're losing the ability to call things what they are. And it is an uncomfortable truth. And it forces you to look at your daily habits, and it forces you to take real accountability. But it's also the only way you're actually going to get set free. So if you're wanting to step away from the kind lies, let me know. I'm going to go through several common ones. I eat clean, I'm just not losing weight. I hear this phrase many times, and it's time for the uncomfortable truth. Eating clean is not the same as eating in a calorie deficit. Also, what is your definition of eating clean? Maybe your definition is not eating fast food, but you're still eating processed garbage that you just buy at the grocery store and you take home. Even if you are eating, quote unquote, clean in a traditional sense of whole foods, lots of veggies, lots of meat, lots of dairy, but if you're not doing the right workout, then it might not matter. Or maybe you're sitting all day. And the only way you can lose weight, whether it is fat or muscle mass, is in a calorie deficit. The only way you can gain weight, whether it's fat or muscle mass, is in a calorie surplus. So if you're not gaining or losing the weight that you want to, most people it's losing, sometimes for me it's gaining, you're not eating enough food. And you can absolutely gain weight with nothing but chicken breast, avocados, and almonds. It's extremely hard, but if you were on full bed rest, you probably would gain a little bit of weight. Your body does not care about the health of the food when it eats too much of it. It's extremely hard to eat too much of the healthy food, and most likely if you're lifting weights, most of that extra weight will go towards building body mass. But if the scale refuses to move, then you're consuming more energy than you burn. And that's okay. That's just the facts. That's not a good or bad thing. That's not an attack on your morality. It's just that's the truth. And most people grossly underestimate their daily intake, right? There's hidden calories. There could be cooking oils. There can be mindless bites and snacks in between. Liquid calories in your morning coffee. And that Friday night treat that turns into Saturday night snacks as well. And that undoes a lot of what you've done throughout the week. And the kind lie that you tell yourself, that society tells you, is that your metabolism, it's just broken. A kind lie tells you that it's not your fault, right? A kind lie tells you that it's okay, just keep eating your organic snacks. Have you gone to the organic snack section in the grocery store? It's not healthy. You know what the healthy section is? It's the fruits, the veggies, and the meats and the dairies, not that aisle that has quote unquote organic chips, but it's almost just as many calories. That is not a healthy snack. In fact, I feel like snack inherently aren't necessarily healthy, and a true snack, if it was healthy, is just a smaller version of a meal, and it should be a complete meal, right, where you have a protein, a carb, and a little fat. So it can be an uncomfortable truth, but maybe you're guessing your portion size wrong, right? Portion sizes. Maybe you're not accounting for, 30 calories here, 20 calories here, 50 calories here. That's 100 calories, and now you're 100 calories over, and you do that 2 or 3 times a day, and that's 300 calories, and boom. It makes that big of a difference. And facing this reality, it stings, but it is a way to potentially come out of that plateau. Now, that being said, sometimes the goal shouldn't to be just to cut calories at first. You will lose the weight, but it is going to be more nuanced than that. Refer to any podcast that has to do with weight loss or reverse dieting. Now, sometimes people will say, well, I work out 5 days a week, but my body looks exactly the same. If I had $1 for every time I heard this, I wouldn't need a job. I could just retire. The kind pattern is saying, hey, movement is movement, just keep showing up. And that's perfectly fine. I'll say that too. However, I also do know that get just moving is good. But if you do want change, maybe you need to move different. Maybe you need to move harder. Maybe you need to move with better intention. Maybe your entire routine consists of the elliptical, a light jog, very minimal resistance training, because your resistance training, you think, is actually HIIT training. You're burning tons of calories, but you're not changing your body composition. Sweating does not automatically equal progress. Most people, actually, fun fact, think that sweat is fat loss. When you lose fat and you burn fat, you breathe it out. Sweat is just there because you've overheated. So yes, cardio can be a fantastic tool for your heart health, your mental health. It can be a great way to supplement in some activity, but it will not actually get you to the toned, defined shape you are telling me you want to. To actually change your body and the way you look and the way you function, you need different stimulus. You do need to lift weights and apply progressive overload, have a structured program, not just doing random exercises, and take the appropriate rest you need between your sets, and not just do constant HIIT strength. HIIT strength workouts is not a strength workout, it is cardio with weights. It's a cardio workout masquerading as if it's weights. It's one thing pretending to be another thing. And so to actually move the needle, you need to have a rhyme, a reason, a plan, a purpose when you go in, an intention. Praising effort without strategy keeps you running in circles, which is honestly not the end of the world. And that's the honest truth. But the harsh truth is if you want your body to change, then you're going to have to change what you're doing. And if you want to change your muscles to adapt and grow, you need to change the weight that you're lifting. Go heavier. You need to change the rest periods. You actually need to rest longer. And if you're ready to accept that truth, then maybe you'll start to see some change. But if you're not ready to accept that truth, that HIIT strength training is not strength training, you will not get the results that you need. Another one. I want to get 8 hours of sleep. My brain just does not shut off. Trust me, I've struggled with sleep. You know what really, really, really helps is getting off your phone. Stop watching Netflix. Eventually you will fall asleep so much quicker. As a trainer, I hear this excuse constantly over and over and over again. Clients complain about being tired throughout the week, and the uncomfortable truth is, okay, well, when do you go to bed? Oh, you go to bed at 11:30, 12, 1. Well, why don't you go to bed earlier? Well, I'm not tired then. Well, when do you drink your last coffee? How much caffeine are you drinking? Well, I need it because I'm tired. Don't you see that paradox? Well, I just get to bed and I just want to doom scroll for a bit. Okay, well, we can manage that. But if you keep going through your doom scrolling, of course you're not going to fall asleep till 1, and your quality of sleep's not going to be good, and now you got to get up at 7. 6 hours of sleep is not enough sleep. The honest truth is aiming between 7 to 9 hours is kind of bullshit. Aim between 8 to 9. The 7, I believe, is actually a lie. That's like a bad night of sleep. Once you've been constantly getting 8 hours, 7 is a bad night of sleep. If you're used to 6, 7 is a good night of sleep. The late night phone habit is probably what's destroying your sleep most than anything. And it's such a domino effect that if you're not getting the best sleep, you're going to sabotage your muscle recovery. You're going to wreck your hunger regulation and your satiety. You're going to actually crave more junk foods. And you're going to tank your energy that you need to train with actual intensity the next day. Sleep, if the health benefits of sleep were bottled into a pill, it would be an illegal performance enhancement drug. That's how important sleep is. And I've been really trying to get after it. I used to use this lie to myself that I needed cannabis to fall asleep because I just had an active brain. Even some of my friends are like, oh, it's such a life hack. I've been 3 months sober off of cannabis, and I actually do think I feel a difference with the sleep. It took me a while because I had some vivid dreams, but I am definitely back to a good sleep cycle, sleep routine. A black sleep mask completely blacks out everything. That helps. My white noise helps. My blue light blocking glasses at night help. As I say that, and I'm yawning, and then getting into bed just at a more reasonable time, more reasonable hour, and then just knowing that every once in a while, yeah, I might not get the perfect sleep, but I will fight through it. So again, that's a lie that most of us say that, well, I just can't fall asleep naturally. No, your body would love to. You're just not stacking the cards in its favor. Your body needs deep rest to burn extra fat, to build more muscle. And if you keep feeding it the blue light and cheap dopamine, it's going to stay awake. If you want to see actual results, treat your bedtime routine just like any other discipline that you do, right? You can't outtrain chronic sleep deprivation. Set a hard curfew, not just a going to bed time, a wake up time. It's a going to bed time, right? One other hack is putting your charger on your phone across the room, and you stop blaming biology when it's your nighttime habits that are actually getting in the way. I just don't have time for meal prep or a workout this week. So the kind lies, oh yeah, you're so busy, you're so right. When in reality, well, you gotta cook at least once in the week. I can't meet anybody who's eaten every single meal takeout. And what you can do is you can cook double, triple, you can just do a big batch. And in reality, I'm gonna use chili as an example. You put ground beef in, you put a couple cans of beans in, you put a can of tomatoes in, maybe any other vegetables, diced, pre-frozen, some spices, and you can just let that simmer for an hour while you go do something else, and then you just portion it out into 7 containers, and that's your lunch. And that's simple, that's easy. It's just that we don't want to do it. Maybe it's boring. Maybe it doesn't taste the best, right? Maybe we enjoy using the excuses because that's an easy cop-out for why we're not getting to our goals. But if we accepted that excuse every single time, well, we're just not going to see results. Even the time part of it. I don't have enough time. That's not true. We all have the same time. What you prioritize with that time is your choice. Totally understand that if you work 60-hour work weeks and you got 2 or 3 kids, that is true. But nobody said that your workout has to be long. 20-minute workout is completely fine. You will get results with that. 10-minute workout, even a 5-minute workout, studies are showing that that has tremendous health benefits. Maybe you just wear a watch and you try and get your steps up throughout the day. That's completely fine too, right? You don't need to cook every single time for 30 to 45 minutes a healthy meal. You don't need to have an hour workout every single time that you work out. You can invest $100, $200 into home gym equipment and get to put together a very simple, basic plan. And as long as you follow the plan, you'll be fine. 5 to 10 minutes, perfectly fine. More than happy to help with that, right? You say that you can't fit in a daily walk or a quick workout, or you don't even have time to sleep. The irony is taking care of yourself probably gives you back way more time. And let's be real, if you're listening to this podcast, you probably have some level of time. So let's be real. Now, you could be listening to this podcast while you're cooking, while you're working out. And you can even delegate some of this stuff. Guess what I get to do later today? I'm cooking for a client, meal prep. It's going to take me 3 or 4 hours. Yeah, it's going to cost them money, but they make way more money than what I do. That gives them their time back. So it makes sense. If they make, let's just say, $100 an hour, and they pay me, it's $30 an hour, to cook the meals for them, and I spend 3.5 hours, just over $100. And that's probably what it will take, cooking their meals. They've now just condensed 1 hour of work into 3.5 hours. And that saves them an extra 2.5 hours. Amazing how that math works. And that's how you can do most things with delegating tasks that you can't do, life, getting time back. A good example of this is hiring someone to clean your house, because you probably don't enjoy it unless you're my mom. And that probably saves you an extra 4 hours a week. And yeah, maybe it costs you $100. I don't know. I actually don't know what it would cost. Maybe it takes them 2.5 because they're experts, but it would have taken you 4. And it costs $100. And now all of a sudden you don't need to do that 4-hour task every single week. You've now saved 4 hours. On top of that, again, let's just say you do make $100 an hour. Not that you do, but even $50 an hour, that saved you 2 hours because it would have taken you 4. And so the value is $200. That's just how business economics works 101. Follow me for more business economic tips. This is a fitness podcast. So when you say you don't have time, what you really mean is it's not a priority. And there are ways to delegate that priority. Hiring a trainer is going to make it where an hour workout is just as effective as someone probably doing 3 or 4 on their own because they don't know what the fuck they're doing. It also saves you the time of thinking about it. You just have to show up and do it. And yeah, it costs money, but once you kind of get into the rhythm of it, you might not need that anymore. And the tough shit is most people do need a trainer because they don't know what they're doing. I've seen people work out in the gym. Have you seen people working in the gym? They don't know what they're doing most of the time, unless they're basically into bodybuilding or powerlifting as like a hobby. Then they don't really know what they're doing. Even then, they're just know in that specific realm. And it is a tough truth that, yeah, you might need to pay for that. Maybe it's humbling. Maybe it's like, fuck, I'm a 35, 45-year-old male, female, and I don't know how to work out. I don't know how to take care of myself. And that is perfectly fine. That's why I have a job. So stop managing your time and start managing your priorities. You do have enough time. You just got to figure out the right priorities. And that's why we're here to help you. Maybe it's you lost your motivation. Also a lie. Do you have motivation to go to work every single day? I know for sure. Actually, I kind of do, but even then, sometimes I don't. And I love my job. I love my job. I doubt that the accountant loves his job, but he finds a way to get to work every single day. He doesn't have the motivation for it, but he knows that he needs to do it. So motivation to work out can be a great jet fuel, but it's not the everyday thing that you actually need. When you start strong, you hit the gym every single day for a few weeks, and then progress slows down. I could have told you that would have happened. We just released the hedonic treadmill episode, so refer back to that. The kind lie tells you, well, just wait until the spark comes back, right? The uncomfortable truth is motivation is completely unreliable. It's not that useful. Get to the gym. Take it one step at a time. Motivation will always abandon you, but focusing on discipline will not. Relying on motivation is a guaranteed way to fail. Real physical change comes from discipline or even obsession around that change. It happens when you execute the ordinary, repetitive days in, day out, week in, week out, month in, month out, year in, year out. Consistency does not care about how inspired you feel. You build the body you want during the workouts you do not want to do. Stop waiting for that burst of motivation. It is a lie. I'll do it when I'm motivated is the biggest lie. Do it. I want to change, but, that word but, that's the time you've decided to let that sentence hold you back. As a trainer, the hardest thing to do is to watch someone fighting tooth and nail to defend their own excuses. The kind of lies that you tell yourself that seem perfectly valid. Well, I want to do this, but, and that's what keeps you from doing it. The uncomfortable truth is you're defending your own limitations, and it guarantees that you keep your limitations, because the tough truth is that you're sabotaging yourself. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Most people confused blunt honesty with cruelty, but I'm telling you the truth. And the truth is that the most respectful thing you can do for someone is to also tell them the truth. And a lie that you tell yourself is so common. It dresses itself up, and you don't even realize you're lying to themselves. For example, I need cannabis to sleep. I would love to get off of it, but I need it to sleep. I need it for my anxiety. Do I really? Right? Real accountability feels uncomfortable at first. It forces you to look back at your daily choices, and you blame your circumstances. Well, I'm anxious because of this. I'm stressed out because of work. But once you drop the excuses and you take control of your results, you will start to get results. Stop fighting for your limitations and start fighting for your potentially unlimited potential. None of us are at our full potential. Doesn't that bother you a little bit? Doesn't it bother you that you're not at your full potential? It's really starting to bother me. And who do I have to blame is myself. When I blame myself, I give myself the power to then change it. If I blame outside circumstances, I can't control those. And so I'm giving power away. You need to blame yourself more and hold yourself more accountable to the types of changes that you need to do. And that is a tough truth, but it is a pill that you need to swallow. If you disagree with anything here, I would love to hear it in the comments. I would love you to think about one thing that is a kind truth, whether you say it to yourself, others say it around, that maybe you could say to yourself. I'm not trying to pick on anybody, but I do think that this is a very important topic, hence why it's made. And it's got some good wisdom behind it. Until next time.